Okay, this is the web-based symbolic logic tutorial presentation poster, and this symbolic logic tutorial is a web application that we created for Professor Gregory's Intro to Symbolic Logic course. This web application will allow students to review their principles online through practice and graded quizzes, and allows the professor to upload quizzes and question and answer pairs, and also edit the quizzes and publish them as published or unpublished, meaning that the students can take the quizzes or not. Okay. This poster actually shows our design process, which is an iterative design process, which means that each step through this can be reviewed and redone time and time again while we're going through to get to our final product. We began by meeting with Professor Gregory and coming up with the objective of this web application, and got the specifics of the different components that he wanted to include in the web application. We were able to come up with a usable web application that had intuitive navigation and a clean look and feel. And when we say usable, that means that the web application is memorable. The user does not have to relearn each step every time they come back. We also focus on maintainability so that we can update the web application for the user in a timely fashion, and we worked on scalability so that a lot of different people can be on the web application at the same time and completing different quizzes all at the same time. From those objectives, we were able to come up with a prototype design. It simulated the movement through the pages or the flow, and we used links to simulate that movement, so there was no dynamic content. And then from that prototype, we were able to demo it to the client, who was Professor Gregory, and get his approval. Anything that we needed to change about the layout, we were able to change then without having to go back and redo code. And then from that final approval, we were able to go and implement the functionality so that we had the dynamic content. It was no longer static. We were not faking it through the links. And once we were able to finish that implementation, we were able to demo it again, and anything that needs to be changed could be. And then we demoed once again, and we came up with 3 different views for our application: the student view, the professor view, and the administrator. My role consisted of developing the professor view, and I was able to allow a key section where the professor could place a list of statements that the students could use through their symbolic logic symbols, as their symbolic logic symbols. And then I allowed a question and answer pair to be added to each quiz at a time. And then the professor, once complete, can go through, edit the quiz, delete the quiz, or create a new one. And also publish the quiz so that students can see it. And if he doesn't want to publish the quiz, then only he is allowed to see that.
My role was the student view, and main student options were taking a quiz in graded mode or practice mode. And that there turned out to be a lot of overlap because they're basically the same, except in graded mode you don't get instant feedback. So I was able to reuse a lot of material. But that said, there were a lot of pieces to put together because there were more fields in this than there were fields to enter the answer, and then we had to have set up to determine whether it was the correct answer and provide feedback. So the idea is that you could, in practice mode, you could answer a question, submit, and then immediately know whether you got it right or wrong. You wouldn't get the answer, but you could tell whether you're on the right track. In either mode, you could go to any question you wanted. You didn't have to take an order. You could cycle through, and when you've answered all the ones that you wanted, you could submit it. And each answer submitted went to a database where you then had methods to compare the answer to the correct answer. And we also had a back-end program that was able to compare for different correct answers, because sometimes two different correct answers could have different forms but be equivalent. So Professor Levy actually found a program for us that was able to check to make for the equivalency. So that was once we had the quizzes in the database. There are also options to go back and view past quizzes to see the performance yet done. You could retake quizzes in practice mode. And once they're uploaded to the database, the professor could also view them, see how the class was doing.
When will it be used?
We're hoping it'll be used next fall for his class thing. It's not quite in tip-top shape yet, but it's